Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. This week we're going to be talking about inflatable pools, and we'd like to thank Mark Boat for giving us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And he didn't leave an email and wanted to know what hose and sprayer we used for cleaning a driveway in one of our videos on our YouTube channel. And it is the Pivot Jet Pro by Hyde Tools. It's Hyde. And this week we have a sponsor. It's Life Source Water Systems, and you can check them out at lifesourcewater.com. Some early inflatable balloons were made of the intestines of cats by the Aztecs. So they'd blow up sections, they'd twist them off and create animal shapes, and they would use that in their rituals. How cool is that?
That's kind of gross.
The first inflatable rubber balloons were made by Michael Faraday in 1824 for experiments he was doing with hydrogen, and the first modern balloons made out of latex were developed in 1931. Inflatable pools come in a wide range of sizes from around 3 foot in diameter for a couple of kids to large 18-foot diameter, 48-inch deep pools that can have a pump and a filtering system. And some of these will hold over 5,000 gallons of water. Most of the inflatable pools are PVC or vinyl, and the inflatable pools are easy to set up and take down. They can be stored much easier than metal or plastic-sided above-ground pools. Vinyl's easy to keep clean and maintain. The disadvantage is it can be difficult to repair, and they're going to be less durable than traditional above-ground pools. If you plan on getting a small 3-foot to 5-foot diameter pool or one of these small inflatable kiddie pools where they have a slide or spray features, the CDC is recommending that you replace the water after every day's use, and this is going to reduce the risk of recreational water illness. So kids jumping, yes, it's RWI. It even has initials. It's such a thing. So kids jumping in and out of a small pool without a filter and chemicals to sanitize the water can contaminate the water from microscopic parasites like Cryptosporidium and bacteria like E. coli from the soil, or if you have animal waste in your yard. And kids can pick up fertilizers or other chemicals from your lawn. Bug repellents and lotions on your skin can also pollute the water.
Gross.
Small kids in swim diapers can contaminate pool water and cause serious infections because swim diapers can leak. And the CDC says sick kids shouldn't be swimming with other kids in these small pools. The Water Quality and Health Council recommends draining small pools after each use. Wipe them down with 1 part bleach and 5 parts water, then rinse thoroughly. Allow it to dry completely in sunlight for at least 4 hours. One survey I read said 64% of Americans have peed in a pool, and only 46% of the people in the UK have
How
peed.
would they know that?
They got a grant to study it. So scientists studying the concentration of an artificial sweetener that passes through the body and it's not affected by pool chemicals found that in the research they did in 31 pools that they studied, 100% of them had the sweetener. So every pool had urine in it.
Yeah, nice. I'm never going swimming again.
When you're filling a small pool for young kids, you can just add a couple inches of water. You don't have to fill it up all the way, and your kids are going to have just as much fun splashing and playing around. Less water is also going to be safer. The Consumer Product Safety Commission estimates there's about 250 children under the age of 5 that drown in pools every year.
Wow.
Drowning is the second leading cause of accidental deaths in children under 5. And you should treat a small pool the same as you would treat a full-size pool. It can be just as dangerous for small children. You never want to leave kids alone, even in these small kiddie pools. A report done by the Consumer Product Safety Commission found that in most drowning cases, there wasn't any warning that the children were drowning. There wasn't splashing or crying that was heard to alert the adults, and they're saying that it only takes enough water to cover their mouth or nose to cause a drowning.
You know, when I picked this topic, I thought it was going to be light and fun. Turns out it's not.
It's amazing how dangerous a pool can be.
So, do you have any alarms?
So there's a couple top-rated alarms to help keep your kids safe. There's something called the Pool Patrol PA-30. This is a pool alarm that's activated by waves. So this floats on the surface of your pool, and if somebody were to fall in, it will activate it and sound an alarm. There's a pool door alarm. So this is called Pool Guard Pool Door Alarm. It's DAPT-2. And this is an alarm that you put on a door or a gate, and it sounds if somebody opens it within 7 seconds. And there's also a wristband that you can get for your kids. And so this actually locks onto their wrist, and you need a key to remove it.
Right.
But if this wristband gets wet, so you have an alarm that you set up by the pool, and if your child were to fall in the pool or jump in the pool, the minute it gets wet, the alarm goes off and you're notified.
What's the name of it?
It's called the Safety Turtle Swimming Pool Alarm with Wristband.
So this is good too if you go to the beach or to a public pool.
Yeah, very smart. There are a lot of specialty pools for small kids that have slides or built-in sprayers that you can connect your garden hose to. Intex pools, it's INTEX. They have a pool that's called their Inflatable Dinosaur Play Center. They have a Pirate Play Center, so it's a pool with all kinds of pirate stuff. And then there's one shaped like a whale. It has shade over the top of it, and water sprays out of its tail. There's a company called H2O Go. So it's H, the number 2, O, G-O, and an exclamation point. And they have a little farmer pool, and they have the lava lagoon pool for kids.
Cute.
And you can take these small inflatable pools, clean them, and store them inside during the off season. And kids love to play in them, so you can put blankets in the bottom, fill it with plastic balls, so you can kind of create a fort or a hideout.
Okay.
I was excited about that idea. When you're comparing pools, you want to look for a multi-ply material with the best warranty. A drain valve makes it much more convenient to drain, and some pools will have a drain valve with a hose connection, so you can now water your plants.
With the pea water?
It's high in nitrogen, so plants will love it. And then a pool that comes with a patch kit is a nice feature. If you're looking for large inflatable pools you're going to keep up all season, you're going to need to treat the water just like a traditional pool. So when you're comparing pools, an inflatable pool with a pump and filter is going to be easier to keep clean and sanitize.
Right.
If you have a pool that you're leaving filled with water, you want to check your local village for the regulations for fencing and covers. Many communities require a fence if your pool's 18 inches or deeper, and some communities require a fence for a pool of any depth.
Yeah, when we were out driving yesterday, and we saw that pool with no fence.
Yeah, amazing.
And it was like a regular pool,
yeah,
above ground pool.
And it had a ladder.
And it was like on a main road,
right,
too.
Which is, yeah, absolutely. You also want to check with your village to see if you need a permit for large inflatable pools with a pump. They're going to have to come out and confirm that you have outdoor electric that's protected by a GFCI outlet or a breaker. So I checked with a local village by us here in Illinois, and an inspection is required for all temporary or permanent pools.
Really?
And you have to fill out a pool checklist. So you have to apply for a temporary pool permit. You have to have a dedicated GFCI outlet for the pump. The pumps have to be double insulated. You have to submit a drawing of the pool location for the property. There's no pool in front yards. The pool has to be 10 feet from the side of the property line. You have to give a description of the fence type and the height. And if you don't have a fence, you have to build a fence. You have to get a fence permit, and that has to be submitted with this permit. You also have to let them know the pool size and the depth, and all pools must be protected by a fence that's 5 foot high, self-closing, and locking, and it has to be approved by inspection.
Wow.
They don't require that you pay anything, but
Yeah,
but
all your money's going to a fence in the pool.
right. But it's cool that they're coming out. They're doing all this to make sure that it's safe,
Yeah.
and they're not charging you. But in small print at the bottom of this, it said, and other regulations may apply at the time of the inspection. You should check with any homeowners association bylaws before you purchase or fill a pool. Some HOAs have a ban on above ground pools. And if you
Why?
buy one and set it up, they can require you to remove it just because they don't like the look of it and probably the dangers involved with it. If you have an existing fence, you want to make sure it's up to your local code for a pool. For most communities, it needs to be non-climbable, usually 4 feet high, but some areas require 5 feet.
What do you mean non-climbable?
So for the fence construction,
You have to have like barbed wire on top of it?
that would be good. So they don't want horizontal lines or horizontal bars that would be easy to just kind of step up and over. So they want it more difficult. So there's some specific ways they want the fences built.
But like, what about a chain link fence? You can climb that.
For a chain link fence, they want the openings 1.25 inches or less, so it's hard to get your feet inside of it. For like a lattice work fence, 1 3/4 inch openings or less. And for a picket style, 4-inch space or less between the sections. Many areas want door alarms on all the doors from the home that open to the area with the pool, and gates must be locking and self-closing. Your village may require a pool cover or a removable ladder when it's not in use, or a lockable ladder to prevent use. They don't want pet doors in some communities on doors that open to the pool area, or any structures within 4 feet of the pool that kids could climb on and jump into the pool. But check with your local codes. You should also have emergency equipment with a large inflatable pool, like a rescue pole or life preserver rings. And adults should know CPR. Many fire departments will give free CPR training, so you should call your local village to see what's offered in your community. And when you're ready to fill up your pool with clean, safe water, our sponsor this week, Life Source Water, can help you with that. So they're a family-owned business. They've been manufacturing whole house water treatment products since 1984. And they have the longest-lasting carbon-based system in the industry. It's tested and certified for a minimum of 2.2 million gallons.
Wow.
So they use granular activated carbon made from coconut shells, which is pretty interesting. And it only has to be checked once every 10 years. You have no cartridges to replace.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Their Apapure line of products, it's APAPURE, contains quantum disinfection.
That's on Space Age.
So this is patented. It's a media that kills 99.99% of bacteria and viruses on contact. And what's wild is it doesn't need any electricity or chemicals. If the power goes out and you get a boil your water alert, your water is still safe for cooking and drinking. So this has beads that rip off the electrons from bacteria and it destroys them. It's pretty wild. It's NSF certified and ANSI certified. And you can check out their systems at lifesourcewater.com. If you get a pool with a pump and a filter, it's going to be easier to keep your water clean, and you can connect a pool vacuum for getting debris off the bottom of your pool. And if you end up replacing your pool in the future, you want to make sure that you get a pump that's rated for the maximum flow rate of your pool and the amount of water. A pump that's too powerful can actually be dangerous because of the suction. And you're looking for suction covers that won't allow skin or clothing to get trapped. They'll be called safety drain covers or anti-entrapment suction covers. Dual suction outlets are going to help prevent skin, hair, and clothing from getting trapped on the openings.
Okay.
Since pools are potentially dangerous, you want to look at your homeowner's insurance and your liability limits to cover any legal or medical costs. Your insurance company may have specific requirements that are different from your local village to cover the pool, and some pros are recommending if you have a $100,000 liability to move it up to either $300,000 or $500,000. When you're picking an area for your pool, find out if there's any restrictions like the distance to the property line or proximity to decks or structures that kids could climb on and jump in the pool.
Right.
You should also call 811 and mark any underground utilities just in case repairs are ever needed, or if you plan on digging into the soil to make it level. When you're setting up a pool, the surface should be level and free of any debris. If the pool is set up on an angle, it can cause one side to bulge and collapse, so you can either drain or damage your pool. It'd be a drag, wouldn't it? Most pools that are medium-sized or larger are designed to be set up on firm soil, not a deck. Water weighs 8.34 pounds per gallon.
Wow.
And some pros are recommending leveling the area you plan on installing your seasonal pool on and then remove the grass. Some aggressive grass like St. Augustine and Bermuda can actually grow right up through the liner. And even if you don't remove the grass, when you put up a pool like this and then take it down for the off-season, you're going to destroy all the grass there. So you can just put down new grass seed in the fall, mist it twice a day for 2 weeks, give it a little shot of starter fertilizer, and then you'll have grass again in the fall.
So why would you do that? That makes no sense to me. If you're going to put it up next year...
So if your backyard looks nice. So in the fall, you have people over. They're sitting on your back patio. You've got your fire pit
snow
going.
In winter, right?
Well, not all areas have snow, like here in Chicago.
Okay,
So after you put your pool away, get some grass. 2 weeks, you've got grass. You got a beautiful back lawn again.
That's just dumb.
You know what you also want to put underneath your pool is a tarp or a ground cloth. So it's like setting up a tent to protect the bottom of the pool. You should also orient the pool so the drain is in the direction you want to drain it. I'd like a sunny location if I'm putting up a pool. Mm-hmm. And if you have a pump, set it up so getting the power cord to the GFCI protected outlet is within the length of the power cord. Most companies don't recommend an extension cord, but check your manual. And check the recommendation for how long to run the pump every day. You may want to add a timer. Mm-hmm. When you're ready to set up your pool, you want to spread out the base and inflate the pool with air. Use an air pump or compressor. You don't want to overinflate it.
How do you know?
You want to get it just snug so you'd feel it just like you're feeling a tire on a bike.
So you're guessing?
Yes. Well, if I'm comparing pools, some have valves that prevent overinflation, which is a nice feature. I'd probably look for that. Mm-hmm. Some have double valves, so you can use the same valve to inflate and deflate. And in hot weather, you actually have to kind of pay attention. You might have to let out a little air if it feels like it's overinflated. And some pools are going to have multiple inflatable sections. Some are just going to have one top ring that you have to inflate.
Right.
To fill your pool, you want to check to see if there's any water restrictions, if you have specific days or hours that you can fill a pool. In some areas, you're only allowed to top off a pool. You're not allowed to fill it. I saw an article in Austin, Texas, that a homeowner was fined $475 for filling his pool.
What are you supposed to do then?
So depending on how big your pool is and your local codes, you can actually have companies truck in water. So one company I saw, they were charging 10 cents a gallon to fill a pool. So if you have a 4,000-gallon pool, a large one, it'd cost you $400 to fill it.
It's cheaper than the fine.
Yeah, there you go. So, and to fill a pool with a hose, the average home with a 100-foot, 5/8-inch garden hose at 40 psi, it's going to take about 45 minutes to fill up. And you have to be careful if you have a well pump. And if you're filling a large pool, it can run your well dry, getting mud or debris into the well, or it could damage your pump. And also, if you're in an area with high iron content, it can be hard on some vinyls. You want to check the recommended depth of the water. You don't want to overfill it. And check the water height after a heavy rainstorm. Excess water can damage an inflatable pool, so check your manual. You don't want to climb in or compress the top of an inflatable pool. You could cause it to collapse and damage the pool. And if it requires a ladder to get in, use the ladder and remove it when it's not in use, or secure it so kids can't accidentally get in. And you don't want to have radios or anything electric next to the pool that could accidentally fall in, causing electrocution. You want to treat an inflatable pool that you're going to keep filled all season just like a traditional pool. You're going to check the pH every day. The range is 7.2 to 7.8. Check the free available chlorine every day, 1 to 4 parts per million. And the total alkalinity once a week, it's going to be 60 to 120 parts per million. And with the total calcium hardness, a lot of companies recommend 200 to 500 parts per million, but check your manufacturer's recommendation for the pool material, and you want to check this monthly. You're usually going to shock it weekly, and then wait till the chlorine level is between 1 and 4 parts per million before you get into it. And for large pools, those chlorine tablet floaters are going to help maintain the chlorine level. With inflatable pools, many pros are recommending dissolving granular or tablet chlorine in a 5-gallon bucket and then adding it to the pool to protect the liner.
Do you just look for ways to say 5-gallon bucket?
I need to write a book.
Yeah.
You never want to mix chemicals together. Add each separately and then make sure it's thoroughly dissolved before adding the next chemical. You want to keep your pool clean with a skimmer and check your filters routinely. I have some top-rated companies for pool chemicals. Pool Time, it's Pooltime.
How else would you have spelled that, JC?
It's crazy nowadays. Time could be T-Y.
Nowadays.
T-Y-M.
Back in the good old days. And spell things crazy.
So pool time, Robelle, Robelle, or HTH, and it's just the letters H, T, and H. And I would check online, like with these manufacturers, they have really nice routines and all of the levels, especially if this is your first pool.
Right.
When you're taking down your inflatable pool, you want to drain it, allow it to dry completely, clean it off, and some people recommend putting baby powder on it so when you store it, it doesn't stick together when you open it back up the next season. But I would check the manual or call the manufacturer and see how they recommend you folding it so it's folded properly so you don't put too much wear and tear on the liner.
Right.
And then make sure you reseed the area and get some non-aggressive grass so you don't worry about the liner next year.
Do you have some top-rated companies?
Intex, INTEX, H2O Go with the exclamation point, and they're part of Best Way, and Blue Wave, BLUEWAVE.
Do you have anything else to add?
When you're comparing pools, look for multi-ply. Some have reinforced layers, and pools are like tents. Look at the number of people they recommend and then subtract 2 for comfort. Read the reviews on some of the models you like. Some of the smaller styles had a lot of complaints for leaks, bad or no drain plugs. Check for pools that come with repair kits and make sure you have a kit before you need it, and compare the warranties.
Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, CastBox, Player FM, or your favorite podcast app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our books, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com, and you can follow Cindy on Twitter at FixItCohost.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.